Omicron variant XBB are expected in China by the end of next month. China abandoned its zero COVID policy back in December, but it recently approved new vaccines for the variants. The U.S. State Department has not issued any travel restrictions yet. Of course, we'll keep you posted on that. And the Federal Trade Commission launching a public inquiry into what caused the recent baby formula shortage. Investigators will look into possible price gouging, fraud, some other deceptive practices. It wants to hear from consumers about it too. About 20% of baby formula products were pulled from shelves last July because of this major recall. But in February, a third of families with babies still had trouble getting formula.
When I think about growing up in Evanston, a lot of it is family. It's a real foundational feeling that's never left me. I love the commitment to surviving winter. I love the drive to always be better. I love the passion for our sports teams, taking advantage of those last warm days of summer. There's endless opportunity here to learn about each other. I feel that in this city. And I do still pinch myself when I'm driving in on Kennedy and see the skyline, unless there's terrible traffic.
The CBS 2 First Alert Weather Team keeps you prepared day and night. Start your day with meteorologist Laura Bannon.
Whether it's severe weather that can change your life or inconvenient weather that can change your day, you'll know before you head out the door.
And end your day with Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon.
We make sure you know what weather's headed your way tomorrow, so you'll be prepared before your head hits the pillow tonight.
Keeping you prepared around the clock. The First Alert Weather Team, only on CBS 2.
I want you to find.
I believe in not just talking about change, but being part of the change. And how I think you do that is you impact our youth. You'll find me all the time out in the community. You'll find me mentoring. You'll find me there, hoping to inspire our youth in the city. We have a responsibility to go into our neighborhoods, to go into our community centers, to talk to our young boys and girls, and to be there for them. And that's so important to me.
At the CBS Evening News,
This is CBS 2 News.
Right now, police officers shoot and kill a man inside a Des Plaines apartment complex. We're learning what brought police to that building in the first place. And another police-involved shooting. This time, it's the officer who was shot. We're live in the southwest suburbs where police now have a suspect in custody. That's breaking right now. And Memorial Day weekend is about to kick off. We've got the city safety plan, travel tips, and your First Alert forecast ahead. With that, we say good Thursday morning. Happy Friday Eve. It is May 25th, 2023. I'm Brad Edwards. Thank you for streaming with us here in CBS News Chicago. We appreciate it. First to that breaking news, a shelter-in-place order has been lifted in Romeoville. Police now have someone in custody after an officer was shot early this morning. The stream's Mugo Odigwe live at the police department there with an update. A lot going on in this one, Mugo. A lot of moving parts. What's the latest?
Yeah, good morning, Brad. A very active investigation all morning. We know all of this started out as police investigating a stolen vehicle case, and then a shootout ensued when they initially found the suspect. This was all around midnight. That's when they found that suspect. Now, officers say they found the vehicle that had been reported stolen near the intersection. This is Sierra Trail and Summerfield Drive. And we should note here, there was a shelter-in-place order in that area, but Brad, as you mentioned, it has now been lifted because police have found the suspect. Romeoville police tell us that as they approached that stolen vehicle to investigate, the suspect, 29-year-old Samir Hernandez, approached as well. Officers started chasing him. In that process, they exchanged gunfire with Hernandez before he took off. That is when one of the officers was shot in the right shoulder. Right away, police set up a near and wider perimeter around that crime scene.
They worked a grid search. We included dogs, drones. We were getting tips from the community about Ring doorbell video and such, and ultimately that's how, and with the help of daylight, that's how we were able to make our arrest. He was found less than a mile away from where the incident took place in a backyard.
Again, we told you an officer was shot in the right shoulder. How that officer is doing right now is still not clear. The Romeoville police chief we heard from says that things are looking positive at the moment, but he's still waiting on an update from the hospital. We're live in Romeoville. Mugo Dikwe, CBS 2 News.
All right, live breaking news on the stream. Thank you, Mugo. And more breaking news in Des Plaines, where police say an officer shot and killed a man during a possible mental health crisis. We're told things escalated quickly inside an apartment complex there. CBS News' Sal Razai at the scene with more information on this investigation.
Police say a 55-year-old man appeared to be in distress, was breaking things inside of a unit in the apartment complex here you see behind me during a possible mental health crisis, and that he had possible access to something similar to an axe or a machete. Officers here in Des Plaines say they were dispatched to this address, 1477 Thatcher Street, around 7:30 last night to help paramedics that were already on the scene here. Police say this is where the man was having a possible mental health crisis. They say things escalated very quickly when they encountered him in the hallway. That is when a shooting occurred. The man later died at a hospital. The officer who fired the shots is now on administrative leave pending an investigation. Still a lot of questions remain this morning as to if the man was armed when the shooting happened or exactly what caused his death. Right now we are still waiting for answers from police, and we'll get you that information just as soon as it's available. I'm live in Des Plaines. Sal Razai, CBS 2 News.
This matter has passed. Congratulations.
The dawn of a new era yesterday at City Hall as Mayor Brandon Johnson presides over his first City Council meeting. Johnson started things off with a victory as alderpersons approved his unity plan to reorganize the council, but it wasn't without controversy.
You step over us and do other things for other folks, because we've never heard of the black community in Chicago at a city council voting on $51 million for black people.
Aldermen delayed a proposal to dedicate $51 million to aid the migrant crisis here in Chicago as well. A crowd of frustrated citizens showed up at City Hall to voice their opposition to the plan, but were denied from attending. For his part, Mayor Johnson says he was aware people were kept out of the City Council meeting. Police arrested 2 people after a brawl in the baggage claim at O'Hare. Now, at least one of the victims is calling for more surveillance cameras in the airport. You can see the chaos here. Absolute chaos. Police say it started as a verbal argument as people got off the plane, then clearly escalated at the baggage claim. A 24-year-old woman was punched by 2 people as others pulled other people's hair and physically fought with each other. The victim says she may file a lawsuit. Live look outside right now on this Thursday morning. It's so nice. It's so light outside. I mean, man, isn't it nice to have the sun out? Almost as nice as it is to have back-to-back days of Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon handing out the forecast with it. Albert, your Venmo's got to be open for tips on this forecast, huh?
I'm just saying, I'm loving your positivity at 7:12 on this Thursday.
It's kind of an act.
Okay.
By the 8 o'clock hour, I'm truly positive.
Well, then I really love your honesty then.
Thank you.
Your positivity and your honesty. We have a really nice day. You're right, though. We're a little gloomy right now with cloud cover, but the clouds will break up as we get into the afternoon. 50 degrees right now at O'Hare, 51 degrees at Midway. The wind is right off the lake, so we have several spots in the upper 40s right now. 48 Lincoln Park, 49 in the Loop. It's 49 at Elmwood Park and also in Lombard. Lyle also at 49 degrees. Some low 50s down here towards the southern suburbs. You get the idea. A lot of clouds and cool temperatures to start the day, but a lot of sunshine as we head into the afternoon. Not much of a warm-up today. We'll only make it into the low 60s for highs. The high in Chicago at 62 degrees, unless you're right along the lakeshore. You're going to stay in the 50s this afternoon. A few spots down to the south make it into the low 70s. Warming trend, though, as we head towards tomorrow. Here's a check of the hourly forecast for today, though. Again, clouds first half of the day, lots of sunshine for the second half of the day with temperatures in the mid-60s in several spots. And then as we head towards tomorrow, we're near 70 degrees, bright sunshine, and it gets better from there. So we're going to go from the acting of Brad Edwards to the actual positivity of Brad as we head towards this weekend, because you got to like 78, Brad, Sunday, 81 for Memorial Day for the holiday. Real quick, Brad, before I let you go, I got to tell you, a week from today is June 1st.
Okay.
We have 90-degree weather in the forecast a week from today.
Wow, that is remarkable. You see this, Albert? Look at this. Hold on, here I am. No, it's not me. I was actually smiling. Legitimate smile, happy face. Thank you, Albert.
You got it.
Brightening our day already. With beaches officially opening, here's some more great news. Sign of the season. Chicago Parks District still looking for more lifeguards. The city is offering a $600 retention bonus for lifeguards at beaches and neighborhood pools. For a link, head to the CBS Chicago website. Rock, reggae, blues, whatever music you like, Navy Pier is something for everyone this summer. A live look at the pier right now where the summer concert series has been announced. Best part, it is all free. Trippin' Billy's, a Dave Matthews tribute band, is just one of dozens of acts performing at Navy's Pier live on the Lake Series. You can catch live music every Saturday and Sunday all summer long, starting this weekend in the Beer Garden. You're watching the stream, CBS News Chicago. Coming right up, a rocky start to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' presidential bid after a technical glitch delayed his announcement. We've got a look at the early poll numbers in the race for the White House. And the world says farewell to the one and only. A look back at Tina Turner's decades-long career and the tributes pouring in for the Queen of Rock and Roll. Welcome back to The Stream. I'm Brad Edwards. We appreciate joining us this Thursday morning. We are remembering music legend Tina Turner. The spokesperson says the iconic singer died peacefully Wednesday after a long illness at her home in Switzerland. What a jam. Turner's What's Love Got to Do with It topped the charts in 1984. It was part of a 6-decade career that started as a teenager when she began touring with Ike Turner. The two later married, then divorced after Turner suffered years of violent abuse. Turner went on to become one of the best-selling female artists in history, some 200 million records. Turner also won 8 Grammys, 3 Grammy Hall of Fame awards, a Lifetime Achievement Grammy. She was inducted twice into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. A private funeral is being planned. Tina Turner, the queen of rock and roll, was 83. And as we keep an eye on your world this Thursday, after months of speculation, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis officially announced he is running for president. But his campaign launch on social media had a few technical glitches that delayed his chat with Twitter CEO Elon Musk for 20 minutes. A CBS News poll found DeSantis trails former President Donald Trump by more than 30 points. DeSantis' campaign claims it raised $1 million in the first hour after the launch. And the CDC and U.S. State Department are monitoring reports of a new wave of COVID-19 in China. 65 million cases of Omicron variant XBB are expected in China by the end of June. China abandoned its zero COVID policy in December, but it recently approved new vaccines for the variants. The U.S. State Department has not issued any travel restrictions as of yet. A powerful typhoon smashed the U.S. territory of Guam with high winds, heavy rains, knocking down trees, walls, and power lines. Powerful storm surge threatened to wash out low-lying areas, briefly making landfall Wednesday night as a Category 4. It's the strongest storm to hit the territory of about 150,000 people since 2002. In Egypt, tugboats successfully refloated a large carrier ship that ran aground in the Suez Canal. The ship measures about 620 feet long and originated from Saudi Arabia while sailing under the Hong Kong flag. You might remember 2 years ago, the same waterway, one of the busiest in the world, was impassable for nearly a week after a similar situation. A live look right now. It is full steam ahead as we full stream ahead at Lake Michigan from the sky deck, courtesy of EarthCam. This view is from the 103rd floor. Willis Tower is the 3rd tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. And with that, we throw it over to meteorologist Ramon in the First Alert Weather Center now with a check of your forecast. Do you have any fun facts for us? We just had a bunch of fun facts.
Well, I can tell you the forecast. Those are those fun?
Okay, we'll take that.
Okay.
Well, we'll take it as fact.
Well, whether they're right or not, we'll find out by the end of the day.
Yeah, right.
I'll let you know. Cloudy skies right now, 50 degrees right now at O'Hare with a breeze out of the northeast at 14 miles per hour. So a cool day ahead. This is a look at where we are right now. 46 degrees Michigan City, 49 in the Loop. It's 47 degrees in Aurora. Our hourly forecast showing a cloudy first half of the day and then a lot of sunshine this afternoon. Despite that sun, though, it's a cool day. Highs only in the low 60s. Lakeside locations stay in the 50s, couple of 70s down here towards the south of I-80. Big warm up though as we head into the holiday week, and we'll talk about that a little later here on the stream.
Albert, thank you. Now, our BFF of the stream, it's always a stunner. I don't know what she's got. It just says Jackie Kostick is back with us. Jackie, what are you serving up for us on this Friday Eve?
Well, I have one question for you before we get started. So are you somebody who gets to the airport with more than enough time, or are you someone who really cuts it close?
I get there way too early,
okay.
And I'm mad every time, but I just got my TSA number. So I'm going to be flying to an investigative reporters conference next month, so it's the first time I'm trying to force myself to get there with less time, because I feel like, you know, when you're in an airport, you're just a ghost. It's like life is not happening, things are suspended, you can't get on the Boingo Wi-Fi or whatever it is. So yeah, I'm too early, but trying to become better about being too early.
Okay, that's fair. Well, I'm the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm usually like just doing the Home Alone run through the concourse. So desperate times do call for desperate measures sometimes. headlines. And a Carbondale man has been charged with felony theft after police say he stole a backhoe from a construction site to get himself to the airport. So take a look at the top left corner of your screen right now. You can see the backhoe pulling into the parking lot of the Veterans Airport of Southern Illinois. Security camera footage shows the driver parking and then very casually just walking into the airport carrying a guitar case. He allegedly drove that backhoe 10 miles from the construction site to the airport. And I don't know, I think an Uber might have been faster, but he made it there and then got arrested. All right, it's National Wine Day, and in Minnesota, one man is using what many consider a pesky plant to make wine.
Kind of learned some recipes from others, created some recipes of my own, and realized that you can make wine out of almost anything that contains sugar.
Almost anything that contains sugar, so that includes me, I guess. All right, that's Jeff Zeitler, owner of Urban Forage Winery and Cider House. He and his family forage for dandelions throughout the spring and summer. They use the moist yellow petals, put them in hot water, cook them down, and then put them in a fermentation tank. He says the dandelion wine tastes floral and nectary. He makes sure that his family does not forage in lawns or areas that have been chemically treated or have pets in them, so that helps a little bit. But I don't know, Brad, would you try it?
Well, I would never promote mixing wine with weed. But you're talking like just the weed, the incendiary thing in the yard, right?
Yeah, we all made that mistake this morning.
Okay.
And it's like, why would you turn weed into wine? I don't know, you know.
Yeah, or wine into weed, whatever.
We've got Albert laughing in the background right now,
Good.
too.
If we get an Albert laugh, that's a victory. Thank you, Jackie.
Of course.
You are watching the stream here on CBS News Chicago. We're bringing in our TV friends for a quick update. Don't go anywhere. A lot more to come.
When I think about growing up in Evanston, a lot of it is family. It's a real foundational feeling that's never left me. I love the commitment to surviving winter. I love the drive to always be better. I love the passion for our sports teams, taking advantage of those last warm days of summer. There's endless opportunity here to learn about each other. I feel that in this city. And I do still pinch myself when I'm driving in off Kennedy and see the skyline, unless there's terrible traffic.
The CBS 2 First Alert Weather Team keeps you prepared day and night. Start your day with meteorologist Laura Bannon.
Whether it's severe weather that can change your life or inconvenient weather that can change your day, you'll know before you head out the door.
And end your day with Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon.
We make sure you know what weather's headed your way tomorrow, so you'll be prepared before your head hits the pillow tonight.
Keeping you prepared around the clock. The First Alert Weather Team, only on CBS 2.
I want you to find.
I believe in not just talking about change, but being part of the change. And how I think you do that is you impact our youth. You'll find me all the time out in the community. You'll find me mentoring. You'll find me there, hoping to inspire our youth in the city. We have a responsibility to go into our neighborhoods, to go into our community centers, to talk to our young boys and girls, and to be there for them. And that's so important to me.
At the CBS Evening News, we focus on solutions, finding solutions to healthcare problems, how much money we can spend on the groceries, finding solutions to help people understand what are the right choices to make for you and your family.
This is CBS 2 News.
Good morning, I'm Brad Edwards with your headlines on CBS 2 and CBS News Chicago. First, let's get to Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon for today's forecast. Got a pretty one brewing, huh, Albert?
We do. A little cloudy, a little cool this morning, but it's going to get better this afternoon. It's 48 degrees right now at Lincoln Park, 49 at the Loop, 48 right now in Bolingbrook. A couple of 50s down here towards the southern suburbs, including 51 in Joliet. And even though we're cloudy right now, by the time we head towards late this morning, the clouds start to break up. And this afternoon, featuring wall-to-wall sunshine, sunny at 4 o'clock, around 62 degrees. So low 60s in the city, a little bit milder in the suburbs, but cool right along the lakeshore. High temperatures only in the upper 50s today. Brad?
Albert, thank you. Let's get a check your travel times right now. And as we take a peek, map looks not bad. Typical places gummed up, of course, Kennedy. But not too bad so far, though. A few red spots. Breaking news from the southwest suburbs. The suspect is now in custody after shooting a Romeoville police officer. It all started just after midnight when officers found a vehicle that had been reported stolen near the intersection of Sierra Trail and Summerfield Drive. Romeoville police say officers approached the vehicle to investigate. As 29-year-old Samir Hernandez approached as well, officers started chasing him. They exchanged gunfire with Hernandez before he took off. That's when an officer was shot in the shoulder. Police have not given an update on his condition. I'm Brad Edwards. Get more local news anytime on our digital streaming network, CBS News Chicago. It's always on Pluto TV, through the CBS News app, Fire TV, Roku, etc. That's where we are live right now. We'll be until 9. Have a great morning. Get out and enjoy it.
This is CBS 2 News.
Good morning to you. Today is Thursday, Friday Eve. Thank you for streaming with us here at CBS News Chicago. I'm Brad Edwards. The bottom of the hour right now. Live look outside at the skyline. City of Broad Shoulders looking big and pretty today as we look not at the skyline. It said skyline in the prompter, but that's fine. It's beautiful Navy Pier. And we just talked about their free summer schedule for weekend music acts. Going to get out there and enjoy that. Chief Albert Ramon, Chief Meteorologist, and also our Chief Albert.
Right. In charge of all the other Alberts.
Yeah. We got a ton of Alberts here, but this is Chief Albert. This is, if we could just put this on repeat, what you've got cooking, that's going to be a summer delight.
You know, we can go about 2 weeks out in the future, and next 2 weeks looking pretty good. Building temperatures starting to feel a little more like summer next week. So I got a good forecast for you. So here's what we're tracking, Brad. Today is a cool day. Today is the coolest day for at least the next week, if not two. 50 degrees as we roll through the next couple of hours, then 58 degrees at noon, 61 at 5 o'clock with a breeze right off the lake. Tomorrow we start to mild things up a bit, so we'll be near 70 degrees unless you're right along the lakeshore. You'll be low 60s for tomorrow. But here's a preview of the holiday weekend. Looking really nice. A lot of sunshine, 75 degrees Saturday, upper 70s are back in town on Sunday, and then we'll go 81 one Monday for Memorial Day. A snapshot of where we are right now, upper 40s and low 50s. Romeoville at 48 degrees. Waukegan also at 48. Valparaiso at 47. Right at the 50-degree mark here in Chicago. We're quiet on the radar, but we have lots of clouds continue to stream in from the north. There's a couple of breaks here and there. Those breaks will get wider and wider as we go towards late morning into the early afternoon. So here's a look at lunchtime. Notice we have clearing skies, and then as we head towards the afternoon time, lots of sunshine. Highs ranging from upper 50s near the lakeshore to mid 60s in the suburbs. Sunshine near 70 tomorrow, building temperatures this holiday weekend and still going mid 80s Tuesday next week, 88 Wednesday, and a week from today, the first day of June, right around 90 degrees in the forecast, Brad.
Holy cow, Albert, thank you. Now let's get to some breaking news we've been following all morning out of Des Plaines, where police have shot and killed a man. Officers telling us they were called last night to help paramedics on Thacker Street just after 7:30. They say a 55-year-old man who appeared to be under emotional duress was breaking things and may have had access to a weapon similar to an axe. When officers encountered him in a hallway, things escalated and they opened fire. That man later died at the hospital. The officers who fired the shots now on administrative leave pending an investigation. No one else, we're told, was hurt. A final salute for a canine officer killed in the line of duty. This video coming to us last night as the body of Canine Hudson was brought back to the Kane County Sheriff's Office. Hudson died during a shootout with an armed carjacking suspect right on the border of Batavia and Geneva. The Stream's Charlie DeMar has more.
Smashed cars and bullet casings covered the road, just some of what's left behind from a shootout between Kane County Sheriff's deputies and a carjacking suspect. Along with the suspect, Canine Hudson was killed. This 2021 picture shared by the department shows Hudson after one of the hundreds of arrests he was responsible for.
He's an absolute hero today, along with our deputies who brought this to a successful close without injury to any innocent civilians.
Before the shooting, police say this Honda Accord was carjacked in Aurora. A license plate reader detected the car in Elgin. Officers tried unsuccessfully to pull the driver over. A chase ensued, ending in a crash at Fabian Parkway and Randall Road on the border of Geneva and Batavia.
I thought maybe I should get down, but I didn't. I couldn't take my eyes off of what I was seeing.
Matt Jurwitz works nearby and came outside after he heard the crash. Then came the gunshots.
The next thing I know, officers are surrounding the vehicle, at which point I hear double-digit bullets.
The sheriff says the driver got out of the stolen car with a handgun. Canine Hudson was released and bit into the suspect. Officers exchanged shots in the middle of the intersection. Both the canine and suspect died on scene.
It's a tragedy, obviously. All I'll say is that is what they're here to do. That's what they're trained to do. And, you know, it's terribly unfortunate.
As the sun sets, that was Charlie DeMar reporting. Per protocol, 3 Kane County Sheriff's deputies were taken to local hospitals to be checked out, and we are told they are just fine. Right now, a woman is charged with arson, accused of setting fire to the Shrine of Our Lady Guadalupe in Des Plaines. Take a look at the surveillance video. Police say it shows Virginia Roque Fermin starting the fire early Tuesday morning, then adding objects to the fire to stoke the flames. You can see the damage here. Des Plaines police say when officers got to the scene, they saw the woman quickly walking away, and she had soot on her clothes. The fire caused more than $78,000 in damage. A GoFundMe has been set up to help for repairs. An Illinois man is accused of stealing a backhoe and driving it 10 miles to an airport to catch a flight. Interesting. Take a look at the top left of your corner. You can see the backhoe pulling into the parking lot of a Veterans Airport of Southern Illinois. The security camera footage shows the driver parking, then he gets out, walks into the airport carrying a guitar case. The backhoe was stolen from his job site, maybe part of a country song he was writing too. The Carbondale man behind the wheel is now charged with felony theft. An Illinois Department of Children and Family Services worker is charged with stealing more than $1 million in child care money and spending it at a casino. 54-year-old Chantel Prigion was responsible for reviewing and approving daycare providers for children under their supervision. Federal prosecutors say she received $1.6 million in payments from 2016 to 2022 from 14 separate child care providers. The money came from either overcharging rates or from daycares that didn't even exist. Just a few days before the Memorial Day holiday, the unofficial start of summer, city leaders taking a hard look at preventing summer violence. Last month, we told you about the Brilliance and Excellence movement, a plan by 5 different male mentoring organizations to bring kids downtown in a structured manner. They brought the plan to City Hall yesterday. They didn't get to talk to Mayor Johnson, but they did drop off the proposal with 6th Ward Alderman William Hall.
Well, first thing I'm going to do is read it, and then definitely start having the conversation long term.
We want to try to do as much proactive, on the ground support with our organizations and leaders.
The 5 mentors and their groups are planning a march June 10th near 39th King Drive, asking for 1,000 boys and young men to walk the streets of Chicago with them.
This matter has passed. Congratulations.
Mayor Brandon Johnson presiding over his first Chicago City Council meeting and starting off with a victory. Aldermen approving the mayor's unity plan, reorganizing City Council. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Aldermen delayed a proposal to dedicate $51 million towards the migrant crisis here in Chicago. The Stream's Andrew Ramos was there as frustrations boiled over from those opposed to the plan.
So order, the meeting is adjourned.
Inside City Council chambers, it was momentous for Mayor Brandon Johnson, who opened his first council meeting as mayor. Outside, it was a different story. Residents, mostly from the South Shore neighborhood, converged on City Hall to lash out at a plan that would set aside $51 million to address the crisis of housing asylum seekers sent in from Texas that have inundated city shelters. Critics see it as a disinvestment in their own community.
But you step over us and do other things for other folks. Because we've never heard of the black community of Chicago at a city council voting on $51 million for black people.
As part of the measure, funding would go towards staffing for city respite centers in addition to a number of other services. The funds themselves come from a surplus that was set aside in 2021 reserved for emergencies.
Join me in deferring in public.
Amid the growing tensions, the vote for funding was delayed.
We have all the folks in the chambers that did not agree with the transfer of those funds to provide the supports for our asylum seekers.
We are committed to not only address the migrant crisis, but also to make sure that we address the housing crisis affecting many Chicagoans across the city.
Mayor Johnson addressed the heated debate, but did not give specifics of a plan, reminding reporters that he inherited this crisis, and he's only been on the job for less than 2 weeks.
It's going to take all of us to get it done. I mean, there are obviously individuals that, have opinions around how we, address the unhoused in the city of Chicago, but I'm committed.
Now, funding for asylum seekers will certainly be at the top of the agenda at the next City Council meeting, which has been scheduled for May 31st. Outside City Hall, I'm Andrew Ramos, CBS 2 News.
Andrew, thank you. The Chicago Harbor Lighthouse has stood the test of time, but after 130 years, it's showing its age. A group of boaters formed a nonprofit called Friends of the Chicago Harbor Lighthouse. They want to take ownership of the Chicago landmark, fix it, and maybe turn it into a museum open to the public. How cool would that be? The restoration work will take years and cost $3 to $5 million.
Our goal would be to create a safe environment to allow public access to safely board the lighthouse, tour the lighthouse, and those that want to and are capable of walk the 100 steps to the top of the lighthouse and view the city from there.
And that was the president there of the Lighthouse Association. The nonprofit has been touring the city, giving presentations on the past, present, and future of said lighthouse. You're watching the stream here on CBS News Chicago. Coming up, an IRS agent turned whistleblower speaks to us about what he is calling preferential treatment for Hunter Biden in a tax crime investigation. His first public interview after the break. For more tthan 3 years, the Department of Justice has been investigating the president's son, Hunter Biden, for possible tax crimes. Last fall, FBI sources told CBS News that they had sufficient evidence to bring charges. None have come. CBS News' Jim Axelrod spoke to the IRS agent who is blowing the whistle now on what he says was preferential treatment. This is his first public interview.
When I took control of this particular investigation, I immediately saw it, was way outside the norm of what I've experienced in the past.
Gary Shapley is a supervisory special agent for the IRS, where he's worked for 14 years. In January 2020, he was assigned to what he calls a high-profile investigation.
Who's the subject of the investigation?
I can't confirm or deny the subject of this investigation.
Why not?
Because, part of the tax secrecy laws don't allow it.
Shapley can't say it, but CBS News has learned the investigation was the probe of Hunter Biden by the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney in Delaware. Senior Biden administration officials have vowed to let it run its course without interference.
It's not restricted in his investigation in any way.
But CBS News has obtained this letter Shapley's lawyers sent to Congress Monday, alleging irregularities in DOJ's handling of the investigation. Shapley is seeking legal protections from Congress so he can share specifics of his allegations.
There was multiple steps that were slow-walked at the direction of the Department of Justice.
Had you ever encountered that before?
I have not, no. These deviations from normal process, and each and every time it seemed to always benefit the subject.
Shapley says he decided to blow the whistle after a heated meeting last October with federal prosecutors.
It was my red line meeting. It just got to that point where that switch was turned on, and I just couldn't silence my conscience anymore.
Did you let prosecutors know you were unhappy?
I don't think I can answer that.
Hunter Biden has denied any wrongdoing.
Like civil servants.
The IRS agent told us he is a registered Republican. His whistleblowing is being assisted by an advocacy group with past ties to the GOP. But Shapley says this is not about politics.
Why do you want to navigate these waters?
I don't want to do any of this. I took an oath of office, and when I saw the egregiousness of some of these things, it no longer became a choice for me. It's not something that I want to do. It's something that I feel like I have to do.
Jim Axelrod, CBS News, New York.
The IRS told us they can't comment on specific cases because it is committed to supporting whistleblowers in general, they did say, but both the DOJ and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware declined to comment. On the money watch, the trouble with the U.S. debt ceiling is calling our country's credit rating into question. The credit rating agency Fitch has put on our AAA rating, put it on a negative watch. A White House spokesperson said the move reinforces the need for Congress to quickly pass a reasonable agreement to prevent default. With the early June deadline to raise the debt limit approaching, leaders in Congress say there's been some progress in reaching a deal, but as of the morning, this one, no final agreement. Facebook's parent company Meta had another round of layoffs this week. This time it impacted dozens of workers from Meta's business and operations unit. That includes marketing and content management. They announced back in March that it would be slashing around 10,000 jobs in all. The struggle to open a slice of Kraft cheese is coming to an end. The company is overhauling the look of their cheese, which includes not only a new logo, but easier to open wrapping. Kraft says this revamp addresses the #1 customer complaint. The new wrapper is set to hit stores by the end of this year. Right now, millions of Americans are struggling to pay their energy bills. Nearly 20 million households were behind on their utility bills as of March. The National Energy Assistance Directors Association says Americans owe more than $19 billion. It's about $4 billion higher than a year ago. High cost of cooling homes during the summer is expected to make the problem considerably worse. In a post-pandemic world, more people are coming to Chicago. That includes lots of people coming to conventions in McCormick Place. Data shows McCormick Place's recovery continues nearly 2 years after it reopened, with economic indicators approaching pre-pandemic levels. Those who run McCormick Place say in the first quarter of this year, hotel rooms generated and stays there were up 70% from last year, and attendance to conventions was 77% higher. Events through the end of the year are expected to have a $1.2 billion impact on the economy here. Live look now at the front gate of Tina Turner's home in Switzerland on the shores of Lake Zurich. Some well-wishers gathering there. Again, this is in real time to pay their respects for Miss Turner, who died yesterday. She was 83 years old. We'll have our full report looking back on her remarkable life as we come back. Well, every queen needs a gate. And there is a mourner right there, dabbing tears. This is a live look. Front gate of Tina Turner's home, queen of rock and roll, in Quesnick, Switzerland, on the shores of Lake Zurich. Some well-wishers gathering to pay their respects. You can see the flowers there. Turner died yesterday. She was 83 years old. Jared Hill has this report.
Tina Turner, known for her electric performances, amazing hair, and an iconic grit that shined in every note she sang, died Wednesday at the age of 83.
She put a sound on music that only she could do.
Born Anna Mae Bullock in Nutbush, Tennessee in 1939, she met St. Louis band leader Ike Turner at the age of 16, took on the name Tina, and the Ike and Tina Turner Revue quickly became one of the most popular acts in R&B, with hits like the Grammy-winning Proud Mary. Tina divorced Ike after years of abuse, leaving the relationship with nearly nothing but her name in 1976. Tina's career stalled until 1984 with her album Private Dancer, turning her into an international phenomenon.
She did sort of surpass anyone's expectations of what a woman could do past the age of 40.
Fellow rock icon Mick Jagger, in a post, called Tina Turner inspiring, warm, funny, and generous. In Los Angeles, fans left flowers at her star along the Hollywood Walk of Fame. While in London, they remarked on Tina Turner's impact, learning of the star's death during a touring performance of the hit musical about her life.
What an amazing story of resilience, of female empowerment.
Tina Turner, simply the best. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Indeed. She'll be laid to rest in a private ceremony. Coming up, begging for money, needed money in Springfield. We're full stream ahead as we go to break.
When I think about growing up in Evanston, a lot of it is family. It's a real foundational feeling that's never left me. I love the commitment to surviving winter. I love the drive to always be better. I love the passion for our sports teams, taking advantage of those last warm days of summer. There's endless opportunity here to learn about each other. I feel that in this city. And I do still pinch myself when I'm driving in off Kennedy and see the skyline, unless there's terrible traffic.
The CBS 2 First Alert Weather Team keeps you prepared day and night. Start your day with meteorologist Laura Bannon.
Whether it's severe weather that can change your life or inconvenient weather that can change your day, you'll know before you head out the door.
And end your day with Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon.
We make sure you know what weather's headed your way tomorrow, so you'll be prepared before your head hits the pillow tonight.
This is CBS 2 News.
I'm Brad Edwards with the headlines on CBS News and CBS 2. Let's go first to meteorologist Albert Ramon for today's forecast. Sunny one.
Yep, lots of sunshine expected this afternoon. Starting off with a little bit of cloud cover right now, Brad. It's 50 degrees at O'Hare, 52 degrees at Midway with a breeze off the lake. That lake breeze will keep us cool today. High temperatures will only make it into the low to mid 60s. Tonight, 48 degrees. Tomorrow, though, we start to get into a warmer weather pattern. Full sunshine to wrap up the work week tomorrow. The high at 69 degrees, low 60s near the lake. And how about mid 70s by Saturday, upper 70s Sunday, and the 80s are back starting Memorial Day. Brad?
Albert, thank you, my friend. Let's get a check of your travel times right now. And there you have it. As typical, not so good inbound. Kennedy, Ryan, and Stevenson all in the red. Breaking news from Des Plaines, where police say an officer shot and killed a man during a possible mental health crisis. Police were called to an apartment building on Thacker and Cora at 7:30 last night to help paramedics. A 55-year-old man appeared to be in distress. It was breaking things, may have had a weapon on him, similar to an axe. Police say things quickly escalated when they encountered him in a hallway, fired at him. The man later died at the hospital. The officer who fired the shots is now on administrative leave, pending an investigation. I'm Brad Edwards. Our CBS News Chicago stream is always on Pluto TV. We're live there right now. Much more news coming up there. For those of you on the TV side, make it a great Thursday.
This is CBS 2 News.
Right now at 8, police officers shoot and kill a man in Des Plaines in his apartment complex. We're learning what brought police to that building in the first place, and another police-involved shooting. This time, it's the officer who was shot. We're in the southwest suburbs where police now have a suspect in custody. And advocates are pushing for millions of dollars in funding to help survivors of sexual assault. Funding that could be cut. We're talking to one group who is reaching out to the state for help. Good Thursday morning to you. Top of the hour. It's May 25th, 2023. I'm Brad Edwards. Thank you for streaming with us here on CBS News Chicago. Breaking news, a shelter-in-place order has been lifted in Romeoville. Police now have someone in custody after an officer was shot early this morning. Stream's Mugo Odigwe is at the police department with the update.
Yeah, good morning, Brad. A very active investigation all morning. We know all of this started out as police investigating a stolen vehicle case, and then a shootout ensued when they initially found the suspect. This was all around midnight. That's when they found that suspect. Now, officers say they found the vehicle that had been reported stolen near the intersection. This is Sierra Trail and Summerfield Drive. And we should note here, there was a shelter-in-place order in that area, but Brad, as you mentioned, it has now been lifted because police have found the suspect. Romeoville police tell us that as they approached that stolen vehicle to investigate, the suspect, 29-year-old Samir Hernandez, approached as well. Officers started chasing him. In that process, they exchanged gunfire with Hernandez before he took off. That is when one of the officers was shot in the right shoulder. Right away, police set up a near and wider perimeter around that crime scene.
They worked a grid search. We included dogs, drones. We were getting tips from the community about Ring doorbell video and such, and ultimately that's how, and with the help of daylight, that's how we were able to make our arrest. He was found less than a mile away from where the incident took place in a backyard.
Again, we told you an officer was shot in the right shoulder. How that officer is doing right now is still not clear. The Romeoville police chief we heard from says that things are looking positive at the moment, but he's still waiting on an update from the hospital. We're live in Romeoville. Mugo Deepway, CBS 2 News.
In more breaking news in Des Plaines, where police say an officer shot and killed a man during a possible mental health crisis. We're told things escalated quickly inside an apartment complex. The Stream's Asal Razai is at the scene with more on this investigation. Asal.
Police say a 55-year-old man appeared to be in distress, was breaking things inside of a unit in the apartment complex here you see behind me during a possible mental health crisis, and that he had possible access to something similar to an axe or a machete. Officers here in Des Plaines say they were dispatched to this address, 1477 Thatcher Street, around 7:30 last night to help paramedics that were already on the scene here. Police say this is where the man was having a possible mental health crisis. They say things escalated very quickly when they encountered him in the hallway. That is when a shooting occurred. The man later died at a hospital. The officer who fired the shots is now on administrative leave pending an investigation. Still a lot of questions remain this morning as to if the man was armed when the shooting happened or exactly what caused his death. Right now we are still waiting for answers from police, and we'll get you that information just as soon as it's available. I'm live in Des Plaines. Asal Razai, CBS 2 News.
Asal, thank you. A retired Chicago police officer says he's no hero, even though he took a bullet for his neighbor. This doorbell camera shows a shootout in Austin early Wednesday morning. You can see the 78-year-old ex-cop run outside to help his neighbor, who is being held up by an armed robber. In an exchange of gunfire, the former officer was grazed on the thumb.
Well, you know, it was such a thing that I'm not no hero or nothing, but I wanted to help my neighbor out.
Anyone that's courageous to step up, to that type of duty, and to help his next fellow man, yeah, I mean, in my eyes, he's a hero.
The neighbor managed to dodge gunfire, wasn't hurt, but his Jeep was stolen and later crashed by the carjacker, who got away. Police arrested 2 people after a brawl in the baggage claim at O'Hare. Now at least one victim is calling for more surveillance cameras in the airport. You can see the chaos here. Police say it started as a verbal argument as people got off the plane. They clearly escalated it to the baggage claim. 24-year-old woman was punched by 2 people as others pulled each other's hair, physically fought with one another. The victim says she may file a lawsuit. Live look now outside at Daily Plaza. Pretty looking out there. What's going on out there today? Looks like something fun. It's not quite Food Truck Friday, but we know it's going to be that tomorrow. Farmer's Market going on today. That's what it is. It says it right in front of my face. Last week, I was special guest of the 4 o'clock news. Boom, here we are, Food Truck Friday, and thanks for having me on the 4 o'clock for us. Usually just on the stream, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on Pluto TV. So that checks us out. What are we going to have for lunch today? Tacos. Here we are. We got Jorge Camacho, owner of Tacos Delicia.
Yes.
Your first Food Truck Friday?
Yes, correct. Yeah, like my first Friday this year.
This is your American dream.
Yes, this is our American dream. We barely got 2 months in business. We feel honored to even give us this opportunity to be here.
What are you gonna feed me?
I will feed you the best piña coladas, but no alcohol.
Wow, that's good.
And the piña tacos de pastor. They're delicious. They're one of a kind.
So apparently Marie doesn't like to eat on TV. So I'm gonna actually judge these tacos on a scale of Marie's. 4 Marie's being the top. Here we go.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Why wouldn't you want to eat on TV? They are rough on my teeth. I love them.
The pineapple, the fruity sugar with the salt of the pastor. I'm gonna go 3 Marie's. 3.68 Marie's. Wow. 3.68 Marie. So I was invited on the floor last week to do Food Truck Friday. Jim and Marie usually handle those. Hugely important segment for it's truly an enterprise, a groundbreaking enterprise, and well, it was delicious. Albert, do you ever hit it up? You're not in time usually on Friday, but
yeah,
you appreciate a good taco.
Yeah, it looks good. Fantastic reporting, but a shout out to the editor for the extra effort, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that was part of the 3.68 Marie's. I mean, people thought I was going to give it 3 out of 4. No, it's like figure skating. I mean, you have technical aspects, you've got artistry, you've got, and I mean, they stuck the landing. And, maybe we could bring the Marie scale into your forecast. I would say you probably got a 3.83 Bruin?
No, let's go 4. Let's go 4 Marie.
4?
Marie.
Wow.
With a little dash of
Bing.
Saavedra.
Bing. Yes, right. A little Saavedra on top.
Saavedra on top. All right, let me show you a live picture. Here's Grant Park. The fountain is on, and we've got Museum Campus in the distance. Got some sun mixed in with clouds right now. Low 50s at the moment. Will be 58 degrees at noon. 62, that's our high today. Lots of sunshine by 4 o'clock, and cooling down this evening. 55 degrees at 5 p.m. We start to mild things up as we head towards tomorrow. Near 70 degrees for tomorrow. A little bit cooler near the lakeshore, and temperatures build as we head into the holiday weekend. Saturday in the mid-70s, upper 70s on Sunday, low 80s on Monday for Memorial Day. But we're cool now. Got some clouds right now. Things will improve, though, after 11 a.m. with clearing skies and about 10 degrees warmer than where we are right now for this afternoon. It's 52 degrees right now in Joliet, 50 right now in Aurora. There's a check of all the cloud cover coming in from the north. That will clear from north to south as we head towards this afternoon. Notice already seeing a lot of sunshine at noon, and then full sunshine as we head towards the end of the afternoon, with highs ranging from upper 50s near the lakeshore, low 60s in Chicago, mid 60s out in the suburbs, even a few locations down south flirting with the 70-degree mark. Good looking forecast, though, for Marie's. Brad, back to you.
For Marie's, and a little Saavedra on top. All right, if you're thinking about treating yourself for breakfast, get ready to feast your eyes on some of America's greatest donuts. A company called Underground Donut Tours held a contest to find the best in the nation. Shops across the Chicago area made the list. No surprise, this is the apple fritter from D&D's place in the southwest side. It won in the best fritter category. Man, that looks good. Stand Donuts, of course, in Chicago won for best fruit-filled donut. Best overall, the cinnamon caramel donut from Rise and Roll Bakery in Indiana, which has a location just across the border in our viewing area. We got streamers there in Schererville. You're watching the stream on CBS News Chicago. Coming up, Mayor Brandon Johnson's first city council meeting is in the books, but not without a couple of speed bumps. Our Dana Kozlov was there for it all. And the world says farewell to a music legend. Look back at Tina Turner's decades-long run, the queen of rock and roll. A first for Chicago's new mayor, Brandon Johnson, presiding over his first city council meeting on Wednesday. The tone was positive, but there were a few speed bumps indeed. The Stream's political investigator Dana Kozlov was there for it all. Here's the report.
A smile, a show of relief, some business, and a little humor, all part of Mayor Brandon Johnson's first city council meeting.
That was quite the new experience for me.
One of the first things Mayor Johnson did was hand out new city council committee chairman assignments and committees before the council voted to approve them.
For the first time, the budget, rules, and finance committees are all led by Black alderpersons.
Those assignments come less than 2 months after the former city council voted to become more independent from the mayor. So this move didn't sit well with some aldermen.
But what I didn't like today was the fact that all of this was done under the cover of darkness, in secret, and away from all the members who it's going to impact.
While business was underway inside city council chambers, outside,
we are the people. She knocked those doors.
Dozens of people were upset about being denied access to the meeting despite an empty balcony and even City Hall's second floor.
They held everybody down here. It was totally ridiculous. It's about 100 people down here.
The mayor says he was unaware.
I'm committed to figuring out where the breakdown happened and to make sure that the people who actually belong in this building have complete access.
But the tone inside chambers was lighter than many past meetings, and the city council makeup, with almost a third new alderpeople, historic.
This new city council is the most diverse council in the history of the city of Chicago.
But Hopkins also proposed having all council members sign a civility pledge, which most did. Why did you think that was important?
Well, when you look at what happened the last 4 years, it was very uncomfortable for a lot of us, some of the confrontations that we've seen, some of the language, the rhetoric.
Our Dana Kozlov reporting. Alderman Hopkins says even signing the pledge will be a step towards restoring civility, both in and outside of meetings. May is Jewish American Heritage Month, and Wednesday a resolution was introduced to the Chicago City Council to recognize contributions Jewish people have made to draw attention, in part, to anti-Semitism. Last year had the highest number of anti-Semitic incidents the Anti-Defamation League has seen since it started tracking them in 1979. The ADL says the number of reported hate incidents in Chicago was up more than 300% from 2021 to 2022.
Anti-Semitism, fueled by hatred and ignorance, is a stain on humanity's conscience. And we must.
The Chicago area is home to an estimated 320,000 Jewish people. And we are remembering music legend Tina Turner. Spokesperson says the iconic singer died peacefully Wednesday after a long illness at her home in Switzerland. Man, we should just play that all show long. What's Love Got to Do with It topped the charts in '84. It was part of a 6-decade career. Started as a teen when she began touring with Ike Turner. Two later married, then divorced after Turner suffered years of violent abuse. Turner went on to become the best-selling, one of them, artists in music history, selling 200 million records. Turner also won 8 Grammys, 3 Grammy Hall of Fame awards, and a Lifetime Achievement Grammy. She was inducted twice into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. A private funeral is being planned for Tina Turner, the Queen of Rock and Roll. It's 83. As we keep an eye on your world this Thursday, after months of speculation, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis officially announced he is running for president. But his campaign launch on social media had a few technical glitches. It delays its chat with Twitter CEO Elon Musk for 20 minutes. A CBS News poll found DeSantis trails former President Donald Trump by more than 30 points. DeSantis' campaign claims it raised $1 million, though, in the first hour after the launch. The CDC and U.S. State Department are monitoring reports of a new wave of COVID-19 in China. 65 million cases of Omicron variant XBB are expected in China by the end of June. China abandoned its zero COVID policy in December, but it recently approved new vaccines for the variants. The U.S. State Department has not issued any travel restrictions. It's now been a full year since a deadly shooting in Uvalde, Texas, where 21 people were killed, including 19 fourth graders. The tragedy pushed one Andersonville mom to take action more than 1,300 miles away. She says the past year has been full of political successes. Involved full-time in her family bakery, we were there as Natalie Kaplan cooked up a plan. She and more than 800 other Illinois moms banded together for an advocacy day in Springfield. Kaplan joined Moms Demand Action after the Uvalde shooting. She says the group helped push for House Bill 218, known as the Firearm Industry Responsibility Act. It limits how gun manufacturers and retailers market products and could open them up to lawsuits over any violations.
We had a huge bump in membership for our local organization right after Uvalde, Texas. There's been a lot of support after the Highland Park shooting at the parade. But we hear about this every day in the news. So every time something happens, it motivates someone else to get involved.
We reached out to the Illinois GOP to see if they had any statement about the firearms legislation, but have not heard back. The Federal Trade Commission is launching a public inquiry into what caused the recent baby formula shortage. Investigators will look into possible price gouging, fraud, and other defective practices. About 20% of baby formula products were pulled from shelves last July because of a recall. In February, a third of families with babies still had trouble getting formula. Here's a story of a lovely homestead. It's one you may recognize. The iconic Brady Bunch house is for sale. It's on the market for $5.5 million. A few years back, HGTV bought the North Hollywood property and renovated it for a show. And here's a story of a man named Albert.
Hi.
Hi, Albert.
I have trivia for you.
Okay, go ahead.
So 23 years ago, it was Walt Disney World MGM Studios backlot tour. What famous show was that? The show wasn't based in Orlando, but the exterior of this famous house, what show was it?
23 years ago would make it.
Well, it's older than that, but the house was still there 23 years ago. Here's a hint: there was palm trees.
What was the house? What era was the sitcom, or what was it?
80s into the 90s.
Family Ties?
No, palm trees. Show was based in Miami. You got it.
Golden Girls?
That's it.
No.
That's it. I got to see it on the backlot tour.
Wow.
It's not there anymore.
Fantastic. Talking about great houses, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Celebrity houses, houses that have their own celebrity. All right.
That's right. Hey, thank you for being a friend, by the way.
Thank you for playing along.
Here's
Thank you for being a friend. Good. That's good. Really good.
Thank you. Here's a check of the temperatures right now. 50 degrees in Chicago, 53 Joliet, Aurora at 50 degrees. Hour by hour forecast. The clouds starting to break up. That will continue through the late morning. Beyond lunchtime, though, lots of sunshine. So expect a sunny afternoon, but a cooler afternoon with high temperatures only in the low 60s. If you're along the lakeshore, though, Waukegan to the Loop, South Shore, Northwest Indiana, temperatures stay in the 50s for you. Clear skies and 48 degrees for tonight, and then bright sunshine for tomorrow. Warming trend in town, 69 degrees for the high temperature, low 60s, though, near the lakeshore. Brett?
Marshall Harris, we appreciate it. You're watching the stream here on CBS News Chicago. We're going to bring in our TV friends for an update quick. And then out of Romeoville, where a suspect who shot a police officer is now in custody. We're going to have the latest on that straight ahead.
When I think about growing up in Evanston, a lot of it is family. It's a real foundational feeling that's never left me. I love the commitment to surviving winter. I love the drive to always be better. I love the passion for our sports teams, taking advantage of those last warm days of summer. There's endless opportunity here to learn about each other. I feel that in this city. And I do still pinch myself when I'm driving in on Kennedy and see the skyline, unless there's terrible traffic.
The CBS 2 First Alert Weather Team keeps you prepared day and night. Start your day with meteorologist Laura Bannon.
Whether it's severe weather that can change your life or inconvenient weather that can change your day, you'll know before you head out the door.
And end your day with Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon.
We make sure you know what weather's headed your way tomorrow, so you'll be prepared before your head hits the pillow tonight.
Keeping you prepared around the clock. The First Alert Weather Team, only on CBS 2.
I want you to find.
I believe in not just talking about change, but being part of the change. And how I think you do that is you impact our youth. You'll find me all the time out in the community. You'll find me.
This is CBS 2 News.
Good morning, I'm Brad Edwards with the headlines on CBS 2 and CBS News Chicago. First, let's get to Chief Meteorologist Ramon with today's forecast. Sunny and warming up.
Yeah, looking really nice today, Brad. Right now, some passing clouds mixed in with that sun as we start at 50 degrees at O'Hare, 52 degrees at Midway. Breeze continues right off of Lake Michigan, so it's a cooler day despite full sunshine this afternoon. The high at 62 degrees. Lakeside locations in the upper 50s this afternoon. 48 for tonight with a clear sky and a breezy northeast wind. Full sunshine to wrap up tomorrow and the work week at 69 degrees, a little bit cooler near the lake. Here's to check the extended forecast. The 70s are back this weekend. The 80s are back on Monday for Memorial Day. Brad?
Albert, thank you. Let's get a quick check of your travel times as you head out this Thursday morning, and looking not bad out there. Just a Kennedy in red. Breaking news from the southwest suburbs. The suspect is now in custody after shooting a Romeoville police officer. It all started just after midnight when officers found a vehicle that had been reported stolen near the intersection of Sierra Trail and Summerfield Drive. Romeoville police say officers approached the vehicle at the same time 29-year-old Samir Hernandez did. Officers chased him, exchanged gunfire before he took off. That's when an officer was shot in the shoulder. Des Plaines police say an officer shot and killed a man during a possible mental health crisis. Police were called to an apartment building on Thacker and Cora around 7:30 last night to help paramedics. A 55-year-old man who appeared to be in distress was breaking things and may have had access to a weapon similar to an axe. Police say things quickly escalated when they encountered him in a hallway and fired. That man later died at the hospital. I'm Brad Edwards. Get your local news updates anytime on our digital streaming network, CBS News Chicago. That's where we're live right now. Make it a great Thursday.
This is CBS 2 News.
Good morning to you. Today is Thursday. Thanks for streaming with us. I'm Brad Edwards. Live look outside right now. There she is, Daily Plaza, bustling with its, I believe this is second farmers market, and tomorrow is the second Food Truck Friday. And here is the first in our many chief meteorologists, but primero, numero uno, Albert Ramon, First Alert Weather Center with a check of your forecast. It's really gorgeous what you've got lined up for us. I don't remember a Memorial Day and expanded forecast that's looked quite this nice.
Yeah, and building temperatures too over the next 10 days. Memorial Day that doesn't feature a rain chance or really chilly air. We'll show you the weekend forecast in just a second. It's looking really nice. Today on the cool side, but it's still nice. Breeze off the lake will keep us below average for this time of the year. At noon, we're at 58. At 4 o'clock, we'll top out with our high at 62 degrees, 55 degrees as you make your evening plans, with a clear sky as we head towards 1 o'clock and beyond. So a clear evening ahead as well. Sunshine for tomorrow, near 70 degrees, cooler though near the lake in the low 70s. And here's the holiday weekend. We were just talking about mid 70s on Saturday, upper 70s on Sunday. By Memorial Day Monday, we make it to 81, and that is just the beginning of a warming trend that will take us to near 90 a week from today. So some summer-like heat in the extended forecast. Low 50s on the map right now across Chicago. It's 52 degrees in the Loop and also Midway, 50 degrees at O'Hare. It's 54 in Kankakee with a mix of clouds and sun at the moment, but the clouds will start to decrease after 11 a.m. High temperatures today ranging from upper 50s near the lake to low 60s inland, down towards the south of I-80, upper 60s and low 70s in the forecast. So nice weekend ahead, warming temperatures, 85 though by Tuesday of next week. 88 on Wednesday. And again, Brad, a week from today, first day of June, high temperature near 90 degrees. Back to you.
All right, I'm calendaring it. I'll send you the IACAL friend request on that. Albert, thank you. A final salute for a K-9 officer shot and killed during a violent scene in the west suburbs. The Kane County Sheriff's Office posted this video just hours after the K-9's death in the line of duty while chasing an armed carjacking suspect. It happened on the border of Batavia and Geneva Wednesday afternoon. Officers chased the suspect to Fabian Parkway and Randall Road, where the driver crashed. Police say the driver got out of the stolen car with a handgun, so they released K-9 Hudson, who bit the suspect. Officers exchanged shots in the middle of the intersection. Both the K-9 and the suspect died on the scene.
I thought maybe I should get down, but I didn't. I couldn't take my eyes off of what I was seeing.
3 Kane County Sheriff's deputies were taken to local hospitals to be checked out. They're all going to be okay.
This matter has passed. Congratulations.
The dawn of a new era yesterday at City Hall as Mayor Brandon Johnson presides over his first Chicago City Council meeting. Johnson started things off with a victory as alderpersons approved his unity plan to reorganize the City Council, but it wasn't without controversy.
But you step over us and do other things for other folks. Because we've never heard of the black community in Chicago at a City Council voting on $51 million for black people.
Aldermen delayed a proposal to dedicate $51 million to aid the migrant crisis here in Chicago. A crowd of frustrated citizens showed up at City Hall to voice their opposition to the plan, but were denied from attending. For his part, Mayor Johnson says he was unaware people were kept out of the council meeting. The governor's office is deploying anti-violence workers across the city of Chicago ahead of the holiday weekend, calling them peacekeepers. Governor Pritzker's program is modeled after 2 existing groups in the city. The Stream's Tara Molina talked to a peacekeeper with one of those groups who's been doing this exact work for years.
Police call them large group incidents, and we've already seen them downtown this year ahead of the unofficial kickoff to summer Memorial Weekend. Governor J.B. Pritzker's new unit of about 30 people, called Peacekeepers, is fully trained to handle and de-escalate.
They can help stop some of the violence before it even starts.
That's Marcus Mitchell. He's the outreach supervisor here in West Garfield for the Institute for Nonviolence Chicago and has worked as a peacekeeper for years in partnership with FLIP. Flatlining Violence Inspires Peace.
We want to get in front of things so things won't escalate. We want to stop the shooting before the shooting occurs.
The governor's unit is built off the work Marcus and others are doing every day, entrenched in communities, mediating street conflict in neighborhoods majorly on the south and west sides. He says the governor's group will be doing similar work. The difference is they'll be mobile.
If something big happens downtown or something like that, the group moves downtown in the different areas. Where, as far as our group, we're from these trenches. We're from the neighborhood, so we're more familiar with the neighborhood, and we're in it, so that's the difference.
A spokesperson for the state confirming more than 30 peacekeepers are already trained and will be working through the holiday weekend. They'll move throughout the city, with some working the downtown area, ready to move. Is this something that's needed, a group like this?
Yes, very much so. As the last couple of years, have you seen the groups of kids causing vandalism and stuff like that downtown? So it's very much needed.
That was our Tara Molina reporting. The state is funding the unit with COVID money. Right now, $750,000 is dedicated to the work set to start this summer. A West Side community vows to tackle the growing violence in their neighborhood.
You can't come to a library and be protected. Where can you come?
It's so heartbreaking. And little guy gets shot, bullet ripping through his little back. Just too much.
Heartbreaking. This room in West Garfield Park Public Library filled with neighbors last night, all calling for peace after two teens were shot outside that building. It was at a meeting for the newly elected 11th District Police Council. Some said they want more police on the street, while others say the responsibility goes beyond the police. But everyone was determined to make a difference.
Well, Chicago should be safe, north, south, east, and west. There should be no in between, you know, and I blame myself along with everybody else that we should make this right. We got to make this right, and we're going to do it in my lifetime.
The 11th District Council will continue to hold monthly meetings for the public. The summer travel season officially kicks off this weekend. Airports across the country are already seeing a surge of travelers. Now, our Chris Van Cleve shows us what you can expect.
The nation's busiest airport is about to get a lot busier.
We are ready.
Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson expects more than 2 million flyers to pass through for Memorial Day. And nationwide, the TSA is bracing for a potentially record-setting summer.
We're ready, first and foremost.
TSA Administrator David Pekoski.
What's different this year from last year?
This year, a big difference is we have more staff. I mean, we're better staffed this year than we were last year.
During the first 3 months of 2023, U.S. Airlines' cancellation rate dropped below 2%, far better than last summer when staffing and weather woes led to more than 45,000 cancellations.
We feel good about the things that are within United's control.
United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby expects Memorial Day to be the busiest in more than a decade.
Air traffic control challenges are really the #1 concern for me as we head into the summer and as we look to the future.
Airlines have already reduced summer flying at the request of the FAA. On Sunday, air traffic control staffing issues temporarily halted flights at the busy Denver airport.
This weekend will be a test of the system.
Thursday, Friday, and Monday are expected to be the busiest travel days.
Full flights can mean not only a wait at airport checkpoints, but also in the parking garages. Think about either planning ahead or getting a ride to the airport. Also, if you can carry on, it saves you time when you get here, and if there's a problem, it's a lot easier to get on another flight if all you have is a carry-on.
Already, long lines meant Christina Jones missed her flight to Orlando. The next open seat was 24 hours away.
I'm missing my job, my kids, my man, my house. I want to go home and get in my bed.
Experts say budget at least 2 hours for airport lines so your Memorial Day isn't grounded before it can take off. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News.
Our thanks to Chris. The Field Museum will soon have a new dinosaur on display. This is a virtual rendering of the Spinosaurus, which will be suspended from the ceiling in the museum's main Stanley Field Hall starting June 3rd. The Spinosaurus was a semi-aquatic predator, aren't we all? It was about 46 feet long with a crocodile-like snout and tail. Compare that to the T-Rex, who is 40 feet long. Don't they already got Sue there? Is Sue there? Is that going to make Sue jealous? No, either way. You're watching the stream right here on CBS News Chicago, and we do appreciate it. Coming up, important topic, a funding crisis for survivors of sexual assault. Why advocates say they need the state of Illinois to step in to help, and step in now. Good morning and welcome back to the stream. Tackling an important issue here on CBS News Chicago right now. Advocates for sexual assault survivors are facing a funding crisis. Currently, the Illinois Coalition Against Sexual Assault, or ICASA, is calling on the state's General Assembly to invest an additional $12 million in general revenue funding. Here to talk about it, Carrie Ward and Sarah Layden with ICASA. Carrie and Sarah, we appreciate both of you joining us this morning.
Thank you, Brad.
So, Sarah, I want to start with you. So these cuts, from what I understand, are coming from the federal level, right? And now you're in, I mean, who can afford to lose $12 million bucks? And you guys are going to lose that money. So now you're trying to go to the state route to fill that hole, correct?
That's correct. For about the last 7 or 8 years, federal funding has supported almost 2/3 of the statewide rape crisis services here in Illinois. Because there's a shortfall in the federal VOCA fund, we are facing a $9.5 million cut, and we have asked the state to step in and help us offset that cut, as well as address issues for inflation and workforce expenses.
Okay, so VOCA, you Victim of Crimes Act, I believe that's what.
Correct.
So that funding has been in place now for how long?
So the federal VOCA funding has been in place for several years. ICASA has received this funding since 1986, but in about the last 6 to 7 years, it had increased substantially, and we were receiving close to $20 million.
Okay.
We were notified just in February that was going to be cut by $9.5 million, effective July 1 of 2023. So it's a huge hit to rape crisis centers across the entire state, and we can't sustain the same level of services with $9.5 million fewer dollars.
Wow. Sarah, to you, experts tell me, and I have seen from firsthand experience, really, these rape crisis centers are already currently underfunded, if you will. What would happen if this money vanishes and $10 million bucks is gone?
I mean, truly you're going to see the infrastructure that Illinois has relied on for rape survivors be decimated across the state. You're going to see satellite offices close in underserved communities. You are going to see already existing wait lists extend to the point of, you know, pointlessness. I mean, if you have to wait 6 months, 8 months to get into therapy, by the time something opens up for you, you may have moved on or decided forget about it, right? You will see access to advocates who help with critical emergency services like meeting survivors in the emergency room or securing a protective order or safety planning have limited or maybe even no availability. So this is really a critical moment in time for the state to step up and invest in these services. As Carrie shared, relying on federal funding for 2/3 of our funding for so long, you know, the state really is in a position to demonstrate right now that they care about this issue and that they want to make it right and make sure that these services remain available.
And so what would this money do for you, Carrie, this $12 million asked for, especially at this important time? Really, I would imagine from hearing from Sarah, it just would kind of stabilize things. It would be kind of procedurally the same, but it's also really got to be more difficult for you guys asking for funding, so on and so forth, in this political landscape, vis-a-vis the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and that has its implications here. Can you talk about that for a moment?
Absolutely. First of all, you're correct that one of the things, the $12 million increase that we requested from the state, what that would do is help us sustain services at the level they exist right now. Without that increase in funding, you will see that dramatic decrease in services that Sarah referred to. We also asked for a little bit more than what was lost because we've been battling inflation as everyone else has and increased workforce expenses. And it's essential to keep our professional trained workforce in place. You're also correct that survivors are facing issues regarding their reproductive rights, regarding their access to services. And I think that those are issues on a global and political level that just adds another element of difficulty for the folks that we serve at rape crisis centers. I mean, we are not in a position to lose the level of services that we have right now. Survivors shouldn't pay the price for this lack of availability of federal funding. And in the state of Illinois, in the nearly 30 years that I've worked for Akta, we've seen only a $2.3 million increase in funds allocated for sexual assault services in 3 decades. We think that while this was pressed by the urgency of the loss of VOCA funding, it's also a reasonable request given the amount of funding that we've received over these last 3 decades.
Yeah, and it's estimated that the cost for a sexual assault survivor over a lifetime is $120-some thousand, whether that be through therapy or loss of work or so on and so forth. And you are asking for funding that's kind of tantamount to less than $1,000 per survivor. So, Carrie, you're in your car right now. I got to throw the last question to you quickly. You got a final push because you're in Springfield. That's why you're in the car. You're about to go into the Capitol and ask for money. It's the 11th hour. What is nut graph it for me, your big push?
Here's where we are right now. Survivors are not responsible for this loss of funding, and survivors should not pay the price for access to needed services at one of the most critical times in their lives. The fact that the budget wasn't able to be passed last night for that initial first reading provides this extra opportunity to get in front of the Senate Appropriations Committee and to say, do not make Illinois survivors pay the price for lost services. This is not their fault. The assault is not their fault, and we need to do what we can in Illinois to make these services available. We've worked so hard to expand our reach over the years, and this is a huge setback. We can't let this happen.
Okay. Carrie Ward and Sarah Layden from ICASA, 2 voices for victims of sexual assault. Thank you for your work. Thank you for joining us here on CBS Chicago, and we will be following what happens in Springfield.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Almost 40 people die in a drunk driving crash every single day in the U.S. An Orland Park family knows that statistic well. Next month will mark 33 years since their mother was killed by a drunk driver. Our Lauren Victory shares a message from the victim's 5 children ahead of Memorial Day weekend.
So that's the roof of his Jeep. That was actually in the living room right here.
Darren Wodarski lives in the same home.
All the debris.
That's smashed to pieces in these June 1990 photos.
And the estimated speed of 55 miles an hour.
The Orland Park house sits on a T intersection. A straight shot for a drunk driver.
He thought he was on a different road and he crashed through a house.
So he didn't even lose control, he just never stopped driving.
Right.
Yeah.
Old CBS 2 footage shows everything boarded up. More than 30 years later, the outside looks a little different, but inside...
This was the wall where my mom was laying when the drunk driver crashed through the house. Same orientation with the couch, exactly.
58-year-old Marion Wodarski was sleeping when that boozed-up driver barreled through.
It was a loud noise that woke me up, and I came down the hall, and I first thought the roof caved-in because I just saw a lot of dust.
What did it look like in here?
Like a bomb went off.
With the mother of 5 pinned under everything.
It was a scream that I'll still remember from this day forward. It's a blood-curdling cry for help.
Marion died 2 days later.
William Yunker has been charged with drunk driving and reckless homicide.
Our CBS 2 coverage then turned to the man behind the wheel.
There really was no time to grieve.
Oldest son, Len Wodarski, tells us about the whirlwind aftermath, rebuilding the house, attending court dates, doing interviews like this.
She just was a giving woman. It definitely was a very trying time.
Especially for youngest sibling, Mark.
Lonely and depressed.
A few years after her death, this beautiful park nearby was dedicated to Marion and her family. The Wodarski children also honor their mom's legacy by advocating against drunk driving. That includes daughter Noreen Murray, who made a presentation to high schoolers.
I know it made an impact because many parents came and told me.
It's a powerful story.
Len made a difference by speaking to people accused of repeat drunk driving offenses.
A number of the drivers would come up to us and really thank us.
More recently, some family members started participating in Walks for MAD,
dedicated to ending drunk driving.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
We went from victim to survivors.
All of the Wodarski children say the pain has lessened over the years, but it's still there.
Getting married, having my kids.
Decades of memories Mom missed because of one bad decision.
We know that accidents can happen, but how much more did it hurt to know that this was a drunk driver?
Oh, much more. You know, if you're drinking too much, you can get a ride home.
It's easier now than ever with rideshare.
It's something that is 100% preventable, but still happening. You still hear news stories, and they're awful.
That's why this family is opening up the vault from the worst night of their lives.
If one person decides not to drive and drink, she didn't die in vain.
Hoping others think twice.
I walked out and, yeah.
Lauren Victory, CBS 2 News.
Chicago is real. The people here are real, and they want their news to be real, I think.
We are doing something for our own community.
They're all busy. They're giving us a value.